lovers, my name is Carrie and this is Spines and Spoilers. Today I'm doing the Naughty or Nice book tag. I wasn't able to track down who did the original book tag, otherwise I would give them credit. So if you know who did, then just, give me a shout out here in the comments or something. Before I get started, I want to discuss what I'm reading and what I'm drinking. I haven't been drinking coffee as much these days. I've just been drinking a lot of ice water. And at the moment I am listening to the audiobook for The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I believe I only have 3 chapters left. It's really ramping up and kind of getting to the point of no return, so I'm pretty interested to see how things actually end up wrapping up. Naughty or nice? 1. Have you ever received an ARC and not reviewed it? And my answer is not yet. I am sure that it will happen. I've received most of my ARCs from Instagram and places like that where independent artists have reached out to me, and I have always read it and I have always reviewed it and promoted it. Even if I did not particularly like it, I gave it an honest review and let people know about it. I've only recently started to get into sites like NetGalley and things like that, where they will provide you with the advanced reader copy, and I'm enjoying that so far, even if I'm a little overwhelmed by just how many books they will supply you with. I genuinely have no idea how I'm going to read all these books, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it one way or another. So that is 1 point for nice. Number 2 is, have you ever had less than 60% feedback rating on NetGalley? I didn't know what this was at first, so I looked into it, and no, mine has stated about 80%, I believe, but I haven't been on there very long, so this is kind of another not yet. I'm sure it'll happen though, I don't know. But that is another point for the nice category, even if it's all just like situational. Number 3, have you ever rated a book on Goodreads and promised a full review was to come on your blog/YouTube channel and it never did? Yes, I'm very bad about that actually. If I read a particularly interesting or particularly bad book, a lot of the time I'm like, I'll discuss this in a video probably in the future. And it just doesn't happen. Maybe one day I'll just do that. I'll film all the videos that I've said in the past I'm going to do. But as of yet, that has not happened. So that is a point for the naughty category. Number 4 is a sensitive topic. Have you ever folded down the page of a book? I'm very sorry, but I have. I did it all throughout middle school and high school, maybe some of elementary school, I don't remember. I didn't really think about it until someone pointed out the fact that I was basically compromising the integrity of the book, and I felt so bad. I'm a recovering dog ear, or whatever you want to call it. So that is another one for the naughty category. Number 5, have you DNF'd a book this year? Yes, I made it through most of the year without doing that, and then I tried to read The Diviners again. I don't know what it is about The Diviners, but anytime I try to read it, apparently, it puts me in a reading slump, and that's kind of what was starting to happen this time, so I kind of gave in and was just like, I can't continue trying to read this book. It is making me not want to read at all. So, alas, it had to be DNF'd, and I'm sad, because it's an interesting concept and a very popular book, and I think it's probably good. My brain just does not want. I don't know what's going on. So that's another point for the naughty category. Number 6 is, have you ever bought a book purely because it was pretty with no intention of reading it? And I would say this one's got like a half point. Like, I have bought a book because the cover looked interesting and I'd heard stuff about it, but I've never just looked at something and said, ooh, pretty cover, with no intention of ever reading it. Like, I always have the intention of reading it. It just doesn't always happen. In fact, that's a question that I actively ask myself whenever I am out book shopping and I pick something up. I have to ask myself, will I actually read this, or is this cover just really nice? Am I here for the content or the aesthetic? So yeah, I'll give that like a half point to naughty. And a half point to good, I guess. Just split it between the two. Number 7, have you ever read whilst you were meant to be doing something else? This has happened many times, but it happened a lot during my sophomore year of high school because I had entered peak I don't give a fuck mode. I thought at the time that I was just better than everything because I was at a school with lower standards than the schools I'd previously been to. So all of the classes were much easier for me at the time. And I got a little snotty and a little arrogant, honestly. But it got to the point where we were supposed to be taking a test, and I pulled up my book and started reading it, and big surprise, the teacher caught me. Thankfully, Mr. Bart, that was his name, Mr. Bart, was such a sweet cinnamon roll of a history teacher. And he was just like, is that a good book? Like, genuinely asking, like, is that a good book? What's it about? That's good. I need you to put that away for now because we are taking a test. So that is one solid point for the naughty category. Number 8 is, have you ever skim read a book? The answer is yes, definitely. Particularly while I was in school, if I wasn't into the book that we were having to read, I would skim it basically, and just look for the key points that the teacher wanted to discuss. It always pained me to do that, but the first time that I read The Great Gatsby, I could not focus on it for anything. So I kind of ended up just skimming through it until the end. Then someone died, and I'm like, okay, I'm back in it now. So, you know, priorities. So yeah, that's another point in the naughty category. I'm starting to see a bit of an imbalance here. Number 9, have you ever completely missed your Goodreads goal? Yes, many times. Before I started doing BookTube, I missed my goal basically every year because it just wasn't important to me. But it also got to the point where I was reading maybe 1 or 2 books a year, and I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that it was no longer a priority to me. So I decided to step things up a notch and start a Bookstagram and then a BookTube to keep myself accountable. And that's really helped me reach my goals and even got me up to the point where I think I read 150 books a couple of years ago. Not last year. Last year was hell. This one has not been much better. But I think maybe 2018, 2019, one of those years, I got up to like 150. It was great. But unfortunately, I still think that counts towards the naughty category. Here's one I can do. 10. Have you ever borrowed a book and never returned it to the library? No, it would have killed me if I did that. I would never do that. Not judging other people who have, but no, that's a point towards the nice category. It legitimately would have haunted me if I did that. I always worshipped libraries. Number 11 is, have you ever broken a book buying ban? And I don't really put myself under book buying bans. I think there have been a couple of times in my life where I've just been like, you're spending a little bit too much on books, you need to reel it back. But I've never completely banned myself from book buying, I guess. So I don't think I'm gonna count this one at all because it doesn't really apply to me. So that's not going towards anything. Number 12, have you ever started a review, left it for ages, then forgot what the book was about? Oh boy, yes, the struggle is very real. I think I did that with Throne of Glass. Like, I read it and then for some reason just didn't review it. I think maybe I was going through some personal stuff at the time, maybe, like directly after I read the book. And then when I finally came back and realized that I still needed to review it, I could not remember anything about it. So I had to like go back through the Sparks Notes version and kind of get a summary. And I was like, oh yeah, I did like that book. So that is another point towards the naughty category. As you see, Ezra has come to join us for a little bit. I don't know how long she will stay, but she wanted some love. This is going to make things more difficult. Number 13 is, have you ever wrote in a book that you were reading? Whoop! She noped out because I wasn't giving her enough attention, I guess. I don't know. Back to what I was saying. Number 13 is, have you ever written in a book that you were reading? She's back. But the answer to that is yes, particularly if I have two copies of a book and one is a little more worn than the other. I'll have one for annotating and, you know, really heavy usage. And then the other one will be for both display and then casual reading, basically, because I do reread my books. Number 14 is, have you ever finished a book and not returned it to a friend? No. I hate it when people do that. People do that to me all the time, to the extent that I don't like lending out books anymore, because more than once I've been so excited that someone hadn't read a book that I'm like, yes, here, borrow my copy. And then next thing I know, they're claiming it's their book and they've always had it. It's very frustrating. I lost Nosferatu to my ex Metamor, and it's very frustrating because I'm never going to talk to her again, and it's just sitting on her shelf and she's never gonna read it, and it's like one of my absolute favorite books. So yeah, now I don't even like borrowing books that much from other people at this point, because I don't want to be that person and accidentally forget that I have it or something like that, or risk potentially damaging it. I've had someone do that to me before as well. I had the whole collection of Game of Thrones before, and I have it now, but it's like a collector's edition basically. But I had my original ones that were worn in different sizes and all that, because I don't give a damn when I first get the copies of the books. But they left them in the back of their car, which they knew leaked, and then ruined all of the books, and I was so sad. I'm not friends with them anymore either. It's not because of the books, it's just because they were not a great person. So I guess now I know what to look out for. So yeah, that's another point for the nice category. Though I don't know if I expressed it in a particularly nice way. Number 15 relates to that, and I kind of already answered that question. Have you ever dodged anyone asking if they could borrow a book? And the answer to that is actually no, I haven't, because the fact is I just say no. Like, I just tell them I'm very protective of my books and I would really prefer not lending this out to you unless I can like get a guarantee that you will bring it back. And that's only changes if it's a book that I'm not super emotionally attached to. Then it's fine, you know, I'll just be like, okay, fine. But I've never dodged anyone asking to borrow a book. I'm always honest about it and say, I'm very attached to my books, I'm very protective of them, so I'm sorry, but no. So another point to the nice category, even though it feels a little bit mean. I don't like this angle that I'm filming in. I need to get a thing to hold my tablet. Number 16 is, have you ever broken the spine of someone else's book? And okay, look, I didn't know for the longest time that this was a bad thing. It's like the whole folding down the pages of the book. It never occurred to me, all right? I watched the other people in my life do it, like my sister and my dad, I think. So I just assumed that it was normal and it was okay. And then I did that to a couple of different friends' books, and they were like, what the fuck? And I was like, I didn't know, I'm sorry. So yeah, that's a point to the naughty category, and one that I feel pretty bad about, honestly. Number 17, have you ever taken the jacket off of a book to protect it and ended up making it more damaged? Absolutely. I don't know if you can see the goblet of fire back here. Oh no, it's more over here. Yeah, right there. But it doesn't have a dust jacket at all, because I took it off because it was my favorite dust jacket. I loved it so much. It was so ornate. It made me happy. So I took it off and I meant to actually put it on my wall. But in the meantime, I tried to keep it safe, and then it just ended up getting mangled and ripped and wrinkled, and eventually just one day it went missing. I don't know what happened to it. And it makes me sad because I loved that cover. Like, fuck J.K. Rowling. Gotta add in the necessary disclaimer. Fuck J.K. Rowling with every fiber of my being. But yeah, I grew up with those, and that book meant a lot to me. So I was very sad about that. But that is another point to the naughty category. Number 18 is the last one, and it is, have you ever sat on a book accidentally? And let me tell you, this happens at least once a month, I would say. It happens so often. I was much worse about it when I was a teenager, I think, because I was less self-aware. But I'm kind of unaware of how big my butt is, I guess. And I end up sitting on books accidentally all the time. I end up sitting on everything accidentally all the time. So I guess that's another point to the naughty category, but I personally feel like I should not be held accountable for the size of my ass. That is the end of the naughty or nice book tag. Let's tally up the points. So it looks like I have 5.5 nice points. Great. And 11.5 naughty points. So, but thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it more than you know. I hope that you are having a wonderful day, taking care of yourself, staying safe, wearing your mask. Thank you. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe. And most importantly, love yourself. Bye.
Come back to me. Come back to me.